All right, let's get something straight. Islam supports slavery. All throughout the Hadith and the Quran, it says, those whom your right hand possesses, i.e., your slaves. And Sahih International even agrees with the sentiment that it is talking about slaves when it says those whom your right hand possesses. So it says in little brackets in Sahih International, i.e., slaves, right next to those whom your right hand possesses, which is kind of strange. Let's read out an example where it says, it talks about how it's okay to have multiple wives in Islam. It's Surah An-Nisa, ayah 3. It says, and if you fear that you will not deal justly with the orphan girls, then marry those who you please of women, 2 or 3 or 4. But if you fear that you will not be just, then marry one or those whom your right hand possesses, i.e., slaves. That is more suitable than you may not incline. All right, so it says those whom your right hand possesses. And it says this all throughout the Quran and Hadith. It talks about those whom your right hand possesses. All right, now Muslims, they look at this and say, well, the Bible condones slavery. But if you look at it, if you look at what the Bible says about slavery in the New Testament, it's never a Christian who's a slave owner. It's always a Christian who's the one being oppressed, the one who's being a slave. Like in the book of Titus, when it's the guy who's a slave, he writes to Paul, and Paul says, slaves, obey your masters. Because as Christians, we're supposed to submit and to the will of others, because, then they could convert to Christianity. You never know. We're supposed to love our enemies and not, revolt if we are slaves. Now, as Christians, we're not supposed to be slave owners, but we are allowed to be slaves. Now, let's thank God, in this day and age, slavery is not as common, but it's saying, if you are a slave, obey your master. Because the Bible doesn't advocate for social change in that sense, because social change will come in the New Jerusalem, when all evil is cast into the lake of fire with Satan. Now, that just shows the contrast between Christianity and Islam. When, the Quran, it condones Muslims having slaves. The Bible, it doesn't condone Christians having slaves. So, have a good day.